Okay, we're now on page 3 of test review number 4. We're going to be taking our time and going through and matching, in this case, match the equation with the correct graph. So we have 3 equations and 3 graphs. We're going to be just connecting them with a straight line. I'm going to look at the first one and notice that it is in slope-intercept form, meaning y equals mx plus b. Our m is going to be negative 5 over 4. And our b is going to be negative 1. So that means that my graph is going to have to go through negative 1 on the y-axis. So if I look at the first one, here's negative 1 on the y-axis. It goes through there. Here's negative 1 on the y-axis. And here's negative 1 on the y-axis. So I know it's not the last one, but it's going to be the top or the middle one. But our slope is negative 5 over 4. So from that negative 1, I would go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 4, but I'm not on the line. For the second one, if I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, we'll pretend 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4 would be right here. It looks like the line would continue, but I'm just going to double check. Instead of going down, I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and back 1, 2, 3, 4. And sure enough, I'm on the line. So we're going to connect this top equation with the middle graph. Let's look at the second one. X equals 3. X equals tells me it only goes through the x-axis. Okay, only the x-axis. It doesn't have a y, so it's not a diagonal line. It only goes through the x-axis. To only go through the x-axis, that means it needs to be a vertical line because it has an undefined slope. So when we only have an x in our equation, that means it has to only go through the x-axis. It's going to be an undefined line. It's going to be a vertical slope, and it's going to go through the x-axis at 3. So I'm going to go to the x-axis. Here's 1, 2, 3, positive 3 on the x-axis. It is not the top one. We know it's not the second one because we've already taken care of this. Going to the x-axis at positive 3, sure enough, our line goes through. It's a vertical line, meaning it's undefined. So I'm going to connect this second equation with the bottom graph. Okay, let's wrap it up. Even though obviously the bottom one's going to go to the top, let's just double check. Y equals negative 1. It only has a y, so it's only going to go through the y-axis. And it's going to do that at negative 1. When we only have a y, that means it's going to be a horizontal line. Horizontal. Okay, and if it's a horizontal line, it's going to have a slope of 0. So it's going to go through the y-axis at negative 1. We knew that the bottom one didn't go through at negative 1, rather. It does work for the second one, but it is not a horizontal line. The top one goes through negative 1 on the y-axis, and it is a horizontal line. So the bottom equation would go with the top graph. Okay, the next problem says use the function to complete the table. We have our function f of x equals 3x minus 5. And so what we're going to do is we're going to substitute in whatever the x value is into the function. So I'm going to rewrite, instead of 3x minus 5, I'm going to have 3 parentheses minus 5. I'm going to take the value in the x column. In the first one, it's going to be negative 1. And I'm going to do the work for it. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Minus 5 is going to be negative 8. So we'll plug in negative 8 under the f of x. For the second one, x is 0. So 3 parentheses 0 minus 5. 3 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 5 is negative 5. The next one, we have a positive 1. So inside those parentheses, I'm going to put a positive 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Minus 5 is going to be a negative 2. So our y value, or our f of x, is -2. And our last one is going to be +2. So 3 in place of the parentheses, I'm going to put 2 minus 5. 3 times 2 is 6. Minus 5 is going to be 1. Now, if you're not good at working with negative signs or sign rules, I would suggest using your calculator. Remember, there is a calculator in Google Classroom under resources, or you could search Desmos scientific calculator and you'll be able to you'll be able to put in 3 parentheses -5 and just put the different numbers into the parentheses. Okay, again, take a minute to review this page and then you can proceed to the video for page 4.